Hey, welcome everyone on this Friday, October 6th, 2023. It's a Friday, Fact Check Friday. We got a lot of good stories to get to today. I just wanted to say what's up to all the people over there on Rumble and on YouTube watching us live. Do me a favor right now. Smash the like button. Let me know you're not a bot. We need to know. We need to know. We need to know. Anyway, got a good show for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's dive right into the political funhouse, shall we? Now, I don't know about you, but when I heard Hillary Clinton saying she wanted to deprogram MAGA Republicans, I thought, wow, somebody finally said the quiet part out loud. I mean, really, it's like saying, I want to bring back all those memories of Thanksgiving dinner arguments on a national scale. But hey, who am I to judge? Maybe Hillary just misses the good old days of screaming and vitriol and late night hosts imitating Trump when he says China, China. But speaking of China, folks, let's not forget about the Communist Party of China. During the Cultural Revolution, you may not know about that because perhaps you attended an American school, but oh yeah. I'm not saying that Hillary Clinton is Mao Zedong, but there are some similarities. I mean, Mao had his red guards and Hillary's talking about deprogramming. Coincidence? I think not. But in all seriousness, the Cultural Revolution was a dark chapter in history where people were subjugated to public humiliation, struggle sessions, and ideological indoctrination. Sound familiar? And Hillary's suggestion to deprogram Trump supporters might not involve mass struggle sessions, but it's a reminder we need to be careful when we're talking about changing people's beliefs. Look, folks, I get it. Politics can be frustrating. We all have that one friend or relative that believes one more conspiracy theory than you do. And they have their Make America Great Again hat on a little bit too tight. But let's remember, okay, change doesn't come from deprogramming. It comes from dialogue, empathy, and perhaps some jokes. So Hillary, while we appreciate your honesty, let's stick to the classic political strategy. Disagree, debate, and occasionally pretend to like each other in front of the cameras. Deprogramming should never be part of the American political playbook, and the only deprogramming we should be doing is from your overly divisive rhetoric. My name's Tom Coffey. This is the Coffee Nuance Show. Best censored commentary and news show live right now. Flame on. So yeah, this is the story. Whew. Hillary Clinton, she did it. The mask slipped. She called for the formal deprogramming of Trump supporters in an interview with CNN's Christiane Amanpour. She expressed concern about extreme elements within the Republican Party and emphasized the importance of defeating them and their election-denying allies through elections while empowering moderate voices within the GOP, aka establishment Republicans. So that's a story. I just wanted to give you a little, taste of what she said here. Okay, here we go.
Very strong partisans in both parties in the past, and we had very bitter battles over all kinds of things, gun control and climate change and the economy and taxes. But there wasn't this little tail of extremism wagging the dog of the Republican Party as it is today. And sadly, so many of those extremists, those MAGA extremists, take their marching orders from Donald Trump, who has no credibility left by any measure. He's only in it for himself. He's now defending himself in civil actions and criminal actions. And when do they break with him? Because at some point, maybe there needs to be a formal deprogramming of the cult members, but something needs to happen. And how do you...
Whoa. Whoa. Sorry if there was a little echo there. I got to learn how to use my headphones. But, cult members. You like Trump? Well, you're a member of a cult, apparently. And I know, hashtag not all. So you mean, oh, I wasn't talking about all of them. Well, you didn't specify, did you? People that follow Trump, according to Hillary Clinton, are cult members. We always knew this is what she thought. She actually said it. She actually said it. Anyway, that is... that's shocking. That's shocking. Now, I wanted to say a little bit about the Cultural Revolution in China. And I wish I would have looked up a good video to point you to so that you could learn a little bit about it. Come on, mouse. You can work. But of course, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. But this is what happened in the Cultural Revolution in China. They had formal deprogramming. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. And that's what Hillary Clinton is calling for. So I say believe her. When someone tells you exactly what they think, believe them. Hillary Clinton believes that anyone that supports Trump is a cult member. Or, okay, let's say not all people that support Trump. It's kind of seemed that way. But many of the people that support Donald Trump are cult members, and they need formal deprogramming. That's what she believes. That's what she said. Let's take her at her word on that one. Anyway, we got an interesting show. We got a number of things to get to today. In the first one, it's a headline about not having headlines. Here we go. Elon Musk. I think there's more than one Elon. He's removing headlines from linked stories on Twitter. Doesn't he know that that's the only part of the story that people read? Yeah. So anyway, Elon Musk, who owns Twitter, or X, has removed news headlines from news links on the platform, aiming to improve aesthetics. Users can still add headlines in a text, but the move signals a shift toward longer-form content on X. Referrals to news sites from X and Facebook have been declining. Musk's takeover has seen a drop in daily active users and U.S. ad revenue on the platform. Musk's relationship with the news organizations has been rocky, and he's pushing for more content to be posted directly on X. So let me give you an example of what this looks like here. This is just kind of a random story here I just pulled up on X. This is, you can see here, this was posted by Fox 12 Oregon. This is, I didn't pick this for any reason. This is just an example. So here's, you can see the picture, which is the shield of the Oregon State Police. And you can see in the corner it says kptv.com. And then they've put in their own headline, Oregon State Police to begin patrolling downtown Portland on bike. So no longer do you see the headline in the picture or underneath the picture of the headline that it links to. It's only what someone chooses to type in about that. So you could easily change the headline, make it even more deceitful, in my opinion. Although, let's be honest, headlines in stories are often misleading. Often when you read the headline and then you look at the actual story, they don't exactly match. I don't know that this is making things any better, but he said he's doing it for aesthetic reasons, and perhaps there's something there. I don't know. It's weird. It would be weird if you wanted to post a story to, you know, we can't get into mind reading, but the thing is, if you wanted to share a story, no longer can you just share the link to the story because it's just going to have a picture from the story and no one will know what you're talking about. So now you're actually going to have to type in your own headline or something like, check out this story on, you know, in this case, it would be state police are now going to patrol Portland by bike. So you're going to have to type in your own headline. I don't know. It's interesting, but that's what Elon does. He always mixes it up and he's making things interesting. How many other platforms are doing things or experimenting with different ways of presenting stories? No one, really. So I think this is a positive thing. Let's see what happens. And if it doesn't work, I'm sure it'll go back to the way that it was. But next, tricky topic. Oh, here we are. You know, folks, Putin gave a speech. It was a spectacle. He talked about building a new world, and then he took questions for over 3 hours. 3 hours! Maybe he was just practicing for an appearance on Joe Rogan. So here's the story. Russian President Vladimir Putin stated during a speech at the Valdai Discussion Club that Russia's mission was to build a new world, and he blamed Western military and financial pyramid scheme for Russia's invasion of Ukraine. He argued that the West had disregarded Moscow's attempt to establish a new and fairer world order after the collapse of the Soviet Union, which included Russia's proposal to join NATO. Putin claimed that this disregard had increased the risk of global conflict. He also emphasized that Russia's actions in Ukraine were not driven by territorial ambitions, but by a desire to shape the principles of the New World Order. Putin criticized Western partners and their arrogance and reiterated that Russia did not initiate the conflict in Ukraine, but was working to end it. Well, I think a lot of people are going to have a hard time with what he said there. But here's the thing that I would like to challenge you. I'm not stating my opinion on whether I think Putin's a good guy or a bad guy. And anyone that reduces world leaders to being a good guy or a bad guy, frankly, is an idiot. Okay? But what was interesting about this speech, and I have not watched the whole thing. I watched the speech, but I have not watched all of the question and answer session. What happened is he started off, he gave a speech, and then he sat down with a journalist on stage. They were in 2 chairs. And the journalist asked him questions. He replied to the questions, and then they took questions from the audience. This whole thing was about 3.5 hours, uninterrupted. He was there live on camera, 3.5 hours discussing everything, taking questions from the journalists that were there. 3.5 hours. Well, this would be my challenge to you. If you've ever been interested, and I know most people aren't, but if you've ever been interested in this Putin guy, you've heard a lot about this Putin guy. We've heard what CNN thinks of the Putin guy. We've heard what Fox News thinks of the Putin guy. We know what the New York Times thinks of the Putin guy. Have you ever actually listened to what he has to say? I know that's a crazy idea. But you can actually listen to what he says. Now, obviously, this is going to be from a translator, right? But you can listen to it yourself. He actually takes questions from English-speaking reporters. Yeah. But you can actually listen for yourself and decide, hey, is what he's saying, is that the same thing that the media's telling me what he's saying? Because my conclusion after watching his speech is these are totally different things. What he says, I listen with my own ears, right? My own lying eyes. And then I listen to the way that it is covered in the press. And I'm like, did they even watch the same thing that I watched? It seems different. Now, of course, I'm not saying anything's good or bad. What I'm saying is the coverage of what he did is not the same thing as what's being reported. And the only way that you can know for sure, you don't take my word for it, you can watch it yourself. And I'll leave a link in the comments to this story, and you can check out the video for yourself. But I found it very fascinating. And, say what you will about him, but he's a very articulate, bright, considerate person when he's talking. And I would love it. I made the joke about he was getting ready for a Joe Rogan appearance, but it kind of felt that way. When someone goes on and they're there on the mic for 3.5 hours, you really get a good sense for, do they understand what they're talking about? You can really get exposed. 3.5 hours. If you don't know what you're talking about, if you're a dummy, if you're uneducated on the topics that are brought up, you're going to be exposed. And I would love it. I would love it if, like, candidates for our presidency would sit down and take interviewers' questions and questions from the press. 3.5 hours talking live, no breaks, live camera. Can you imagine Joe Biden doing this for 10 minutes? Right? I mean, it's hard to fathom. 3.5 hours? I don't know if he could physically do it. Now, the only way that you can prove me wrong is to actually do it. But we all know that that's never going to happen. Right? There are some candidates that would just be so exposed as being total charlatans and total frauds and, frankly, idiots if they open themselves up that much. And I really think that, if we consider ourselves the greatest country on earth, we ought to have a leader that can be on a microphone in front of a camera for 3.5 hours. And if they can't do that, probably shouldn't be president. But that's just my take on it. But as it is a Friday, let's get to the fact check for Fact Check Friday. Okay. So one thing in fact checking that we do is the way that it works, right? Is we have a claim, we state what the claim is, then we look at the evidence, and then we make a conclusion based on the evidence. Well, the fact check that I want to get to today is from USA Today. And they have a fact check, and the claim that they have is that CNN, MSNBC, and the big three TV networks blacked out coverage during the Biden impeachment inquiry. Okay, that's the claim. And their rating is false. All of the mentioned outlets covered the impeachment inquiry on Joe Biden on September 28th. Collectively, the outlets had live streams. I don't care about that. The outlets had television broadcasts, an array of online articles about the proceedings. Now, let's be clear here. What the initial claim is that they blacked it out, that they weren't covering it. Now, I'm going to take this to mean they weren't covering the thing live. That is the claim, okay? Now, just by saying, oh, it was blacked out, doesn't mean that they never talked about it. What that means is that they weren't covering it live. You didn't go to CNN and they didn't have live coverage of it. You didn't go to MSNBC. They didn't have live coverage of it. ABC, NBC, CBS, they didn't break into their daily soap operas in the afternoon or cut out The Price is Right or something and break in with live coverage of the Biden impeachment inquiry. Okay? That, to me, is what the claim is, that they didn't do that. But USA Today here, let's actually, I'll pull it up. So USA Today here, so that's the claim. They're saying, oh, they did cover it. But I don't think that that was the claim. And I'm being, if I were to hear it was a blackout, to me, my interpretation, I'm trying to do a fair interpretation here, is like, you didn't break in and you didn't have live coverage of it when it was happening. That's what the claim is. But they're saying, it's a huge cut. So it says, breaking CNN, MSNBC, and the big three TV networks have all blacked out coverage of today's Biden impeachment inquiry, read the Post. It's a total contrast to their wall-to-wall coverage of the 2019 Trump impeachment inquiry. It was shared nearly 10,000 times on X and more than 100 times on Facebook in less than a week. Other versions of the claim were there as well. And they say, our rating is false. All the media outlets covered the impeachment inquiry of President Joe Biden. Collectively, they had live-streamed television broadcasts, an array of online articles about the proceedings. Okay. And what it's saying here is outlets did cover the Biden impeachment inquiry. Okay. So it said CNN published a live blog. Well, we don't care about a blog, right? What we're talking about is, did they break in and have live coverage on CNN? Well, they say, well, they had a live blog on their website about the hearing. And then let's go to the first link that we have here. Senior political correspondent Abby Phillips also discussed the proceedings the same day with senior reporter and fact-checker Daniel Dale on CNN Primetime. So this is their evidence. Their evidence is that Daniel Dale, their senior fact-checker, was talking about it on CNN Primetime. Well, I want to show you a little bit of their of this proceedings.
We already know the president took bribes from Burisma.
Daniel Dale is, of course, here to fact check all of this. Let's start right there where you just heard Nancy Mace. She says, President Biden, she said definitively, we know President Biden has taken bribes from Burisma. What's the truth?
She said, we know. We absolutely do not know this. This is a completely uncorroborated allegation. All we know is that there is an internal FBI document from 2020 that says that year, an informant, someone they had deemed highly credible, had told them that 4 years prior, the CEO of this Ukrainian company, Burisma, had claimed that he had given $5 million to one Biden, $5 million to another. But that document contained no corroboration. In fact, the document said even this informant could not even offer an opinion on the veracity of the claim. It's now, 3 years later. We still have no proof of it. And I'll note, Abby, that in this same hearing, a witness called by Republicans, law professor Jonathan.
Okay, I'm just going to stop it there. It's long, but this is USA Today's fact check. This is their first link. This is their evidence that they, well, clearly this is not live. They're not covering this live. This is later on. And the only talk we have about it, if you see the chyron here, it says GOP's impeachment hearing backfires without evidence. Is that a fact-based headline? The chyron says GOP's impeachment hearing backfires without evidence. The impeachment inquiry was all about introducing evidence. And Were they covering it live? Well, I don't see evidence that CNN broke in and had live coverage of Joe Biden's impeachment inquiry. They did talk about it later, and did they talk about it in an unbiased way? No, they said it backfired without evidence. And again, that gets into all kinds of... Are they presenting this unbiased? No, of course not. So when we get back here and we look at this claim here on... we see... you know, I showed you the first link, which was them talking about it later, not live. They say, oh, it was on a blog. Okay, who cares? It was on a blog. The whole thing is, did they break in and cover the thing live? Well, even according to USA Today's own fact check, my interpretation of the original claim, they didn't present evidence that would satisfy me. So that is something to consider when you look at a fact check. Just look at what their proof is. Look at their evidence. Does their evidence even back up the claim? Because in this case, it seems really disjointed. The claim... My interpretation of the claim is they didn't break in and cover it live like they did Trump. And the evidence they had is, well, they put it on a blog and they had their fact checker talk about it later on in the night and said it was a bunch of nonsense. Well, yeah, obviously they're not treating it the same. But according to USA Today, they say it's false. And I guess that's all you need to know, because if you're believing USA Today fact checks, I guess you don't need to think. You don't need to think for yourself. So anyway, that is my little helpful tip on fact checks. Look at the claim. Look if the evidence has anything to do with the claim. Because in this case, really didn't. Really didn't. But anyway, lastly, I got to get to some good news. We got to go out on top with some good news for the weekend. So, here we go. Well, folks, they got this incredible heavy lifting drone on sale in Europe. The FB3, it can carry 220 pounds of cargo, so not quite one of me. You know what that means? It's perfect for all those times you could, you thought, I wish I could just send all my ex's stuff back without having that awkward meetup. So here's the story. The FB3 heavy lifting drone developed by Flying Basket is now available in Europe. It can carry loads exceeding 200 pounds, and it's versatile, finds applications in delivery, forestry, disaster relief, and more. The drone can transport up to 220 pounds of cargo quickly to remote areas, making it valuable for various industries, including telecom, renewable energy, and construction. However, the cost is around 76 grand, which includes all the essential accessories with it. So that's pretty incredible now that you could buy a drone that could lift 220 pounds. And you could think of all the fantastic applications for this. Think of this as, you know, someone falls, you know, while they're rock climbing or something like that. They're in a remote area. They need to be airlifted out of there. Perhaps this could get there a whole lot quicker than a helicopter. Right? You need to get something up a mountain. I guess, you know, if the trail couldn't take a mule, you got this fantastic drone that can lift it and carry it up to the top for you. Now, again, This is the first one that I've seen that is commercially available, 76 grand. You know they're going to come down in price. They're just going to keep coming down in price, you know. So the original one costs a whole lot. But imagine if they could get this down to 15 grand or something like that. This would be something that people might be able to afford to do things with. Just think of all the applications, you know. Think of you know, you need to, you know, do some cutting on a tree up high. You know, you just put a chainsaw on it, race. I don't know. But that's some good news. That's some good news. This could really come in and save some lives and really help out with some situations that you wouldn't have been able to take care of before. So I think that's great news. I think that's great news. Anyway, stick around for the after show. I'm going to go through all your comments on Rumble and on YouTube. I will be back on Monday, but I hope you have an awesome, awesome weekend. Until then, peace. Thanks for sticking around, y'all. So here we are. It's a Fact Check Friday. That's right. OX_00. First. What's up, Tom? Nice. What's up, Rumble Gang? Hashtag leave a like. Thank you, Apothecary John. Biden isn't able to debate anymore. Trump not in the GOP debate. Cornel West changed from People's Party to Green Party to Independent. RFK may go Independent. It is strange so far. Yeah, there's a lot in that comment there. Yeah, Biden, I don't think they would trust Biden 10 minutes in front of a live mic. Not happening. And I do think that it is... I don't know. Trump really should be going to the debates. I think it's a mistake that he's not doing it. Because we would love seeing him in the debates. It would be so much fun. But he's chosen strategically not to do that. But I do think that is a mistake. Because I think that if Trump went to the debates, he could then call out Joe Biden for not having debates. Yeah. Anyway, and yeah, Cornel West, I don't know, I could have done a story on Cornel West today. I am totally unimpressed with Cornel West. It's difficult to talk about somebody like that because you just get into identity politics and everything, and he's a black intellectual. But he just seems to me to be a total shill for Biden. It's like someone offered him $1 million to just, you know, sheepdog people to vote for Biden. That's my opinion. So I'm bored with the guy. I'm not impressed by him whatsoever. And he's never really explained why he left the Green Party. First he was in the People's Party, then the Green Party, which I understood. Like, we're going to switch to a party that might have more ballot access, but why leave the Green Party to be an independent? Now you have a whole lot less ballot access. That doesn't even make sense. So, yeah. RFK Jr. is having an announcement, and when is that announcement coming up? It might be Sunday? I think Sunday's the big announcement. It's my hope that he announces that he will be part of a political party, not the Democratic Party. I'm hoping for the Libertarian Party. And he just doesn't say that he's going to run as an independent, because when you run as an independent, there's so many hurdles you have to jump through. it is beneficial to have a party backing you up that has ballot access for you. I just think it's too much work to truly do an independent run for president the way things are set up now. I'm just going with the way things are set up now, not how I wish they would be, right? So that's that. Personal drones to help escape upper floors of burning buildings. Whoa, that would be, that's an awesome idea. You know, you got these personal drones, they could fly up and you're there and it's a burning building and you put a harness on and click in and the drone could take you away. Fantastic. Think about how this would really work on a heist, right? Could drop you in somewhere, you escape up to the roof. They've got the place surrounded. You have the personal drone come in. Now, the drone's not strong enough to carry me quite yet. I got to lose a few more LBs before the personal drone can take me away on my big heist. But yeah, this really opens things up for so many possibilities. I think it's really interesting. Apothecary John checking in. What's up? Good afternoon. What's up, Hairway to Steven? Nice to see you. No headlines will result in no reading at all. Yeah, just look at the picture and make a conclusion. That's how that's how everything's going anyway, isn't it? I'm an Elon fan and I'm not understanding the brilliance behind the change. Seems like a case of fixing something that's not broken. I don't really understand it either. I don't get it either. He says for aesthetic reasons. Now, typically, I use X mainly on this big 27-inch screen here. I have it on my phone, but I don't use it that. I try using it on my phone. I find it hard to follow. Even though I got a big phone, I don't like putting on reading glasses to look at an app, you know. So I do most of my stuff on the computer rather than on my phone. Perhaps on the phone, it makes a big difference aesthetically. I don't know. I don't really understand it either. Jesse says, Elon tries experimenting with changes on X. Meanwhile, Meta has created a clone of Twitter and had a big opening launch. Never heard of that app again. I don't even remember what it was called. What was it called? Threads, I think? Threads, yeah. And, yeah, and I think that is really good. What they do is they experiment with different ways of working, and we're the guinea pigs. I know that Netflix will do this often, right? Netflix will change the way that the home screen looks, or it may, it changes things up. It tries things in different ways. I know, like, Google Maps does this as well. You know, you're using it to drive. Sometimes it'll look one way. Sometimes it'll look another way. And what they're doing is they're just doing some A/B testing. They're finding out what works better. They're finding out what people like more, or what gets people engaged longer, whatever their metrics are. But they're testing it out and trying to make it better. So I think Elon does a lot of this. He tries stuff out, sees if it works. If it doesn't, he'll go back. I think that's how we should all kind of live our life, right? We ought to try out different things, you know? Say you want to eat less. Well, let's get smaller plates. And maybe by having smaller plates, we put less on it. You can try that out, see if it works. Maybe it works for you, but maybe you just have a small plate and you're like, well, I can't fit enough food on this, so I'll just have 2 small plates. Well, obviously, in that case, it didn't work. Right? And I know that's just a dumb example. But I think we need to keep experimenting and finding out what works best for us. I think that's what Elon's doing here. I don't know. Apothecary John says, wait, you're saying that I can listen to him and decide for myself? This is talking about Putin. I don't think that's right, Tom. I should probably just listen to the mainstream media. Well, that's what they would like you to do. so they can say, oh, he said crazy, mean stuff and he wants to rule the world and take over everything. And just believe us because we never lie about anything, right? Say that again, 3.5 hours? Biden wouldn't have to have his depends changed at least once or twice, yeah? Yeah. Yeah, I am convinced that we're not going to see Biden in front of a live mic for 15 minutes. And I don't even know how they're going to... I mean, they were able to get him to do the debates against Trump last time. I don't know how they're going to be able to do that this time. His cognitive decline seems too great now. So I think they'll just have to find a way to either he won't be the candidate by that time, or they'll cancel it for some reason. I don't know. But, you know, I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. Bet that drone is loud. Probably a loud drone. Yeah. Probably a bit more than the stupid leaf blowers. Why are people still doing leaf blowers? It's so crazy. I get it here. Every Wednesday morning, there's leaf blowers at the place next door. I don't know. But yeah, that'd be a loud drone. That'd be a loud drone. But thank you for the idea on personal drones being able to escape a top floor in case of an earthquake or a fire or something. That's great. That's great. A lot of possibilities out there. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. I'm working on all kinds of stuff. Working on all kinds of stuff, and I hope to show some of it to you next week. But until then, it's a beautiful day here. I hope you're able to get outside wherever you are and have a beautiful weekend. I'll see you on Monday. Peace.